Welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I'm your host, Rick Becker, co-host Lori Hintz, and it's the start of a great week.
It is.
It's going to be a great week.
We got a good week of stuff.
Had a nice, relaxing weekend.
I kind of did too.
First time in a long time.
I did too. I spent my Saturday at the Rock Your Health Summit, which was awesome.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. So I can give you a little update on that and tell you that, yeah, it was terrific.
Cool.
I'll try to maybe tomorrow I can get my notes together and do a little update on how it was. But I was very pleased to be there, and so many amazing medical workers there who stood up and said that they're not complying.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
So tonight, folks, I want to start off with, I want to discuss a columnist that works for Forum Communication. He's a blogger, has been a blogger for ages. And it's Rob Port. He has the Say Anything blog. And he really, if you follow Rob Port or read Fargo or the Forum Communications, you know that Rob Port has an issue with me and has an issue with the Bastiats. And it is just relentless. And it's very skewed. There's a lot of spin. It's a very clearly defined narrative that involves personal attacks, primarily personal attacks. And it's aimed specifically to disparage, bring down, marginalize both myself and the Bastiat caucus. So this is so much more than like a personal defense. You know, this is, and I bring it up, and kudos to you, Rob, because you are having an effect. You are making people believe that the conservatives, the Bastiat caucus, are crazy, and in fact, you're making people who have been in the Bastiat caucus want to put some distance between them and the name. So you're being successful, I'll give you that. And the problem is just, I think it's because it's the repetition of the lies and the misrepresentations. Right. And you've got, Rob's got a big podium with Fargo Communications. So I'm going to spend some time on it, folks. To me, I think this is an interesting portrayal of politics and political philosophy in North Dakota. And we're going to cover 3 segments tonight on this, and I think you are going to have a solid understanding of really what's happening in politics, at least with the North Dakota GOP, the Republicans. I decided to do this. I knew I was going to do it at some point because Rob keeps writing about me. He just has this thing. Oh, by the way, I did a search. Do a search on Say Anything blog for Rick Becker. 226 items come up. Now,
that's a little obsessive. Let me just say that's a little obsessive.
Right. Now, but some of them I found just happened to be that there was Rick and Becker, but not related. So there's like probably half a dozen of those that I could find. So, but anyway, bottom line is there's a lot there. And it took many hours this weekend for me to go through through things. This is just crazy. So anyway, the story that prompted me to say, okay, now is the time, is this. Pull it up, gentlemen. So in the Inforum, the headline reads, North Dakota GOP worried about the Bastiat caucus insurgency ahead of the 2022 cycle.
That's an interesting choice of a word.
Yes, it's an insurgency, according to Rob. Pull up the next graphic. I'm going to go through a few of these quotes in here. He says the Bastiats and their fellow travelers are not representative of most North Dakotans or even most Republicans in our state. Remember that quote for later in our show tonight.
Okay.
Most in our state's electorate are moderate Republicans, a fact attested to by the consistent political success of the ND-GOP under moderate political figures like Ed Schaefer, John Hoeven, Jack Dalrymple, and Doug Burgum. Keep in mind, remember that quote as well.
Alrighty.
Jack Dalrymple is representative of political success in the ND-GOP. Next up, the Bastiats et al. Claim to want more ideological purity, though it's hard to discern that in their own ranks, populated as they are by a mangy coalition of milquetoast libertarians, Bible-thumping zealots, QAnon conspiracy theorists still duped into thinking the 2020 election was stolen. What binds these folks together isn't a common ideology, but resentment of the establishment. And in Becker's case, a ponderous, but so far largely unrequited, political ego.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, and this
Somebody likes to show that he knows some
well,
big words.
he uses
and
a thesaurus.
Yes, I think he does.
And which is fine. I mean, if you want to use the big words like that, that's fine.
I'm a little iffy on the whole Bible-thumping zealots thing because I take umbrage at that personally.
He's very, very big into ridiculing. That's his thing, and it's
like
he's so much better than that. He used to be so much better than that, but now it's all about personal attacks,
and mangy?
labels.
You're calling people mangy?
Yeah, let's pull up the last one I have for this article. At the ballot box, this confederacy of dunces is a non-factor.
Oh my goodness.
In the more picayune environs of intra-party politics, however, they're a headache, and that has some NDGOP leaders worried, to the point where there's serious talk of skipping the state party's endorsing convention next year. This isn't to say that's a thing that will happen, only that serious people with sway in the party are talking about it. Okay, so in the article...
First of all, let me just ask you a question, because
Yes.
I'm a little ticked about this, because it seems to me that in journalism, one needs to cite sources. And I see political people, I mean, who is that? Who is saying...
Right.
I want to know who's saying that.
I am more of a journalist than Rob Port.
You are, 100%.
And I don't consider myself a journalist. Rob Port is not a journalist, and that's not a dig. I'm just saying.
He's a pundit or
he's a pundit.
An op-ed?
He's an opinion writer.
Okay.
He's an opinion writer.
Okay.
But
Clearly,
he isn't,
because...
and I don't think he would call himself a journalist.
Okay.
The problem is that a large part of the population doesn't discern the difference.
Correct. If you're in the forum, you are discerned and judged as a journalist.
So here's the thing. In the article, now this is a separate story, and I'm hoping that maybe we can get the state party chairman, Perry Schaefer, on to talk about this. I don't know, I'm not going to Rob for the actual details, but if in fact the Republicans are looking at not holding a convention, and the reason why that Rob gives is because they would be afraid, the Bastiats, he's saying, can't do anything, but what they could do is boo. At the convention, they could boo Hoeven, Kramer, Armstrong, Burgum. And he says that is something that would mortify the Republicans, and they have good reason to consider this. So I'm thinking to myself, are you crazy? So that's a separate thing, okay?
Right.
But this is what brought it up. Now, I invited Rob Port to come on and discuss.
Excellent.
Yes, I contacted him. He did not reply. Apparently
At
he doesn't
all?
want to come on and debate. I said to discuss this particular article. Now, I think I know why he didn't want to come on to discuss it, because he was busy writing another article which came out today in the Inforum about me and about the Bastiats. Pull this up, gentlemen.
I haven't even seen this yet.
Yes. We have, he says, a regional pandemic of phony expertise. Now, I don't want to make fun of him, but there's no such thing. It can't be regional and be a pandemic. But I'm just, that's neither here nor there. Okay, that's fine.
You're right.
But here's what he says, and I'll read a portion of the article. It says, Representative Rick Becker, founder of the nutty Bastiat caucus of angry and ideologically confused culture warriors, has leaned on his medical credentials to proliferate nonsense about masking. He puts emphasis on doctor when he wants to use the masking culture war to promote his train wreck of a local television show.
Ouch.
This is another thing to keep in mind, folks. Remember that quote. To
interesting.
promote his train wreck of a local television show. Why would Becker and others inveigh, quote, against vaccines and masking despite having little in the way of actual expertise? Because, he says, notoriety is like a drug, and pandering to contrarian notions is a good way to get noticed. They aren't doing this stuff to help you, he writes. They are doing this to help themselves. They don't care if it hurts you.
Wow.
So this is Rob Port, works for the Fargo Forum Communications, has a regular column. This is what he writes. So next segment, folks, I'm going to give you a background. Where was Rob Port in 2010? Where was Rob Port with regard to me in 2013? We've got so much foundation. Stick with us. We will be back in just a couple minutes.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground, enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
Welcome back to No Apologies. It's your mangy host, Rick Becker. We're talking about Rob Port, and I am not, at least certainly not intentionally doing it disrespectfully. I'm presenting things exactly as they are. We just went through 2 articles of Rob's as they were. Did not add our own comments necessarily, just read what he wrote.
So one came out yesterday and then another one today.
One, yeah, yesterday or the day before, I forget, and then one today. So here's the thing, I want to lay the foundation. Who is Rob Port? Well, he obviously is someone who hates the Bastiats, and he's someone who hates me, and he loves Jack Dalrymple, John Hoven, and others.
And he's in North Dakotan.
Well, I think he's originally from Alaska. I could be wrong,
but
anyway, I want to lay some foundation because Rob and I go back for over 10 years. Pull up the first graphic. This is from 2010. Keep in mind, I was not in the legislature until 2013. Now, this is just there's nothing special about this, but he says, hey, Rick, this is great. I sent him some stuff regarding my concerns about Obamacare. What can I do to help your cause? Anything. Can I write a post that the NDMA will be considering this? And I said, sure, feel free. I don't believe any of it's confidential, yada, yada, right? So we've got, and this is, I'm selecting just a tiny handful of Rob and my communications. Go to the next one, if you would, please.
That was 11 years ago.
11 years ago.
Wow.
Now this one, it says for personal consumption only. I'm sharing it with you because I am the one who said for personal consumption only. I am not going against the confidences of Mr. Port. Rob had asked me if I'm running again. This is later in 2013. And I said I would like to. Right now I am planning on it. I'd like to see if, with the help of a few others, I can really pull a coalition together, right? I go on to explain, and what I'm talking about is the Bastiat caucus, right? I say the prep work for that should begin happening now. But I've been so busy with the bar downtown. Meetings should be taking place with those in front as well as those behind the scenes. 2, 1, develop legislation. 2, strategize to cut spending. 3, build a coalition of conservatives who will stand for principle above all else.
Ding, 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 ding.
4, get these people endorsed and elected in both soft Dem spots as well as soft progressive Republican spots. Now, I've laid it out. There's nothing been secretive. There's nothing. I'm not hiding.
You said
I am
exactly
out
what you
in
wanted to
front.
do. Yep.
And I've said that from day one. I have never changed. Never changed.
This is September 27th, 2013.
That's right. Now, let's look at the next one. Just as an example where Rob was. Here he has, from January of 2013, the North Dakota Legislature Week 2 Hall of Shame. He had the Hall of Shame, which earlier in 2013 and all through 2011, he had the weekly Rhino Award. Keep in mind now, he cringes at the idea that someone would have the audacity to use the term rhino. He used to give out weekly Rhino Awards. Now, if you were able to read the bottom of this graphic, you would see that Rob wrote, during the last legislative session, we here at Say Anything blog awarded a weekly Rhino of the Week award to a Republican legislator who strayed the furthest from what are supposed to be the principles of the party.
Well, that sounds
Can you imagine Rob saying that?
That sounds familiar.
He was a different person.
That's very
He said, I wanted to do that again this week, and we did name a rhino for the first week, which was Governor Jack Dalrymple in a rare executive branch pick.
Well, that's kind of a flip-flop from what he just said today.
Exactly right.
Completely different.
Next graphic. This is from 2014. This is from Kathy, who is a person, I think it was at the Franklin Institute, right? She says, Rick, Rob's latest article once again caught national attention. Here's the link. Thank you for your support of Rob's work. It is crucial to keep him out there telling the story no one else wants to tackle. We are grateful for your commitment to the work that Rob and Watchdog.org does. I used to donate thousands of dollars for Rob to continue with his Say Anything blog.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
I can believe that.
Okay, next up, and the final graphic for this segment. Final results. In 2015, Rob had ranked the legislators according to how conservative they were. The top 10 finishers he has here. Who's number 1?
That would be you.
That is me. He says, quote, special recognition goes to Representative Becker for a very solid finish. District 7 is lucky to have you.
This is the same person, people. Same person.
Do you know what else is interesting?
Yeah.
Top 10 he gives.
Yeah, it's interesting.
8 of those are Bastiats.
Right.
8 of Rob Port's top 10 legislators in 2015 are Bastiats. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've got, for our next segment, we're going to finish up with Rob. We're going to go through a lot of his posts, not all 226 of them, but we're going to go through several that I selected to kind of give an example of how he transitioned. And I'm going to explain to you exactly what I think happened to Mr. Port and why he is the way he is. Stay tuned.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
Prairie Patriot Firearms and Training is the region's most complete gun and training center. 5-lane indoor range, a gun shop, and a certified training facility. Firearms training courses are offered daily for new, intermediate, and advanced shooters. If you're not comfortable in a classroom setting, Prairie Patriot offers one-on-one private lessons, from basic self-defense training to concealed weapons testing, along with a full line of guns, ammunition, holsters, and concealment clothing. Prairie Patriot, 3930 Memorial Highway, prairiepatriot.com.
40 years ago, Arrow Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome back to No Apologies, your after-hours oasis of sanity. I am your dunce, Rick Becker, and our co-host, Lori Hintz.
I would be your twit.
You're
Lori
my twit.
Hintz. So hi.
All right. Okay, all joking aside, I want to continue. This is our final segment with Rob. Thank you for sticking with us. I want to go through now an evolution of Rob Port. And again, why do I care?
Well, it's a 180, so that's interesting.
Right, but I mean, so many people are reading it. If they're for the people that are reading forum communications stuff, I mean, and it's working. And so I feel like I'm compelled to respond. I mean, I've ignored it for a year or more, but it's time to respond.
226 articles.
Yep, a lot of them are good.
Somebody is living rent-free in somebody else's head.
Well, that seems to be true. All right, I'm going to go through, and we're going to do it somewhat quickly, okay? We are going to go in order, timeline, with comments that Rob Port has written in his blogs, in his opinion pieces about me or about Bastiat caucus. We have February 10th, 2013. It was hard to pick this week's Hall of Shame winner because I was inclined to award it to every single Republican who voted against a bill introduced by Rick Becker. Right, and you'll notice in the beginning here, there's no personal attacks.
Right.
It's just Representative Rick Becker.
Interesting.
All right, February 13th, 2013, and Representative Rick Becker, who gave a passionate argument for why even seemingly trivial issues like bottle rockets are important in the overall fight for liberty. February 22nd, 2013, while there were a few great arguments against this particular bill, none was better than Representative Rick Becker of District 7 in Bismarck. Another February 22nd, 2013, HCR 3038 has just been introduced by Representative Rick Becker. This is a major, important initiative for a lot of reasons. March 1st, 2013, earlier this week, the North Dakota House passed HCR 3038, introduced by Rick Becker. That's a prescient bit of legislation, given what's going on nationally. March 3rd, 2013, the relief is temporary, but the cost is forever, said Representative Rick Becker during the floor debate over the property tax bill yesterday. Quote, that's exactly right. May 11th, 2013, when you have a House and Senate full of liberals masquerading as Republicans so they can get elected and then governing like Democrats, it was only a matter of time before the NDGOP's definition of a successful legislative session was measured and how much money could be spent in 80 days. You know, you don't even know, was that something I said or was that something Rob Port said? Well, it happened to be Rob Port, if you can believe that. January 3rd, 2014, it might be a little easier to believe the state concerns about privacy if they had been a little more cooperative with Representative Rick Becker. September 10th, 2014, on one side we had some aggressive tax reformers in Lausser, Becker, and others who want to make major changes. On the other side we have Republicans like Maragos, Rauschenberger, and Dalrymple who seem more interested in the appearance of tax relief than the reality. In the past, Dalrymple and the anti-tax reform faction. He called the people that didn't want to cut taxes a faction.
Wow.
180 degrees. We'll move
My
on.
head's swiveling
October 18th, 2014, in the release, Becker says the ideas the coalition are pushing are part of the NDGOP's party platform, but I'm not sure that helps their cause. It seems many Republican lawmakers see their party's platform as a joke. 2014, folks, 2014. This is what we are saying now, that Rob Port is defending those that are thinking it's a joke. They say they are outnumbered by more left-leaning Republicans who are often joined by the Democrat minority to defeat these sorts of initiatives. Get this. Still, it is nice to see the conservatives form a coalition. To paraphrase Benjamin Franklin, those who do not hang together typically hang separately.
He's specifically talking about the Bastiats in there.
January 20th, 2015, Representative Rick Becker, Republican of Bismarck, gave what I thought was a particularly eloquent speech in favor of the bill on the House floor. March 4th, 2015, his halftime rankings, where he ranks all the legislators. He said the preferred votes happen to align with the NDGOP ideals and platform, much to the chagrin of many conservatives. Too many, quote, Republicans in the legislature, and many statewide offices for that matter, don't seem to align very well with their party ideals and platform. Names like Becker, Straley, and Lausser were ones we expected to see in the top tier of the House this session. August 26, 2015, Becker should be commended for getting this imperfect legislation through a storm of opposition. March 3rd, 2016, and I can't imagine there are many people in Western North Dakota who will watch the video above and come away thinking that Burgum is their candidate. Becker maybe, but not Burgum. April 3rd, 2016. There's no question that Becker has touched on a message which resonates with, if not an outright majority of Republican activists, at least a strong plurality which should not be ignored. January 31st, 2017, Becker in his second term, third legislative session, founded what he's calling the Bastiat caucus. I've heard a lot of griping from a number of different sources about, quote, Becker bills. With so large a Republican tent, some faction is to be expected. Overall, I think it is a healthy dynamic. There's nothing wrong with rattling the cages of the old guard.
So you named it Bastiats, and he was totally okay with it when you named it.
Yep.
Okay.
November 12th, 2018, they are Republicans. They often disagree with their fellow Republicans on policy. There's so many here. I'm going to go on. January 2nd, 2019, Becker has long been a bit of a thorn in the side of what I suppose we must call establishment Republicans, and for the most part, I'm fine with that. July 10th, 2019, a not at all insignificant portion of the Republican base in North Dakota is supportive of the Bastiat faction. Oh. Some fault lines are beginning to show. A not at all insignificant portion of the Republican base in North Dakota is supportive of the Bastiat faction.
2019.
July 2019. Now, what happened?
Yep.
COVID.
Yep.
He's a freak about COVID.
Yep.
What else happened? Burgum came out against the Bastiats and spent a ton of money. And Rob Port works for Fargo Forum, who is very kind to Doug Burgum. Okay. So we've got COVID, which he's a freak about, and we've got the Bastiats now fighting against Burgum. He sides with Burgum. Things shift.
So that's when things started flipping.
And October 7th, 2020 is the first time. At times, it seems like a little more than a cult of personality formed around Becker and his incessant Facebook activism. The movement and its adherents haven't accomplished much in terms of actual public policy, though its members routinely make headlines. November 24th, 2020, Becker also sought to defend the honor of his Bastiat caucus, which is more known for their social media antics than any meaningful advancement of conservative ideas. Remember, 8 out of his top 10, Bastiat. 13 out of his top 20, Bastiat. Now, what happened in December of 2020? We started this show.
Yep.
Rob Port cannot stand that we have a show. I mean, we only have 5 viewers, Rob. Why do you care? God, your ego is so tiny and fragile. Okay, January 4th, 2021, founder of the controversial Bastiat caucus. We're supposed to believe that Becker, a public servant, is just making himself available to the public for discourse and debate, as if anyone is going to convince a fanatic of anything. Not that Becker, whose thirst for attention rivals that of no less a narcissist than President Donald Trump himself, is likely to care for scruples. January 12th, 21. One of the defining characteristics of Trumpism, and make no doubt about it, the secretive members of the North Dakota legislature's Bastiat caucus of Republicans are true blue Trumpists, is that they care very little about the principles and ideals America is founded upon. January 13th, Becker, founder of Secret Bastiat caucus and anti-masking zealot. January 15th, Becker is an expert at drawing the spotlight to himself, but so car wrecks do that too. His political clout has never been what he'd like you to believe. It just goes, I mean, there's so much here. He goes on to say a lot of terribly mean things, and then I have more where he is then coming back and saying, hey, you know what? Our moderate Republican Party right now is so awesome. We have a budget surplus. They did great. Why would the Bastiats, why do they have a problem with that? They should just be happy. So Rob Port, my friend,
10 years of loving you, and then all of a sudden,
and
the
I feel
TV
bad
show,
for you.
and he flips.
I feel bad for you, because some of your soul is lost, man. I don't know what that's like, but it can't be good. Folks, we will be back.
When you're buying windows, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Hi, I'm Jesse with the Window Source. We only sell you the best windows and doors for the best price. Call the Window Source. Just because you pay less doesn't mean you get less.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go. We deliver for you.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
From Lambeau Field to your living room. Catch all the Green Bay Packers preseason games exclusively on Beck Sports. Available on KRDK, KNDB, or KNDN TV. The Pack take on the Houston Texans August 14th. Followed by the New York Jets, August 21st, and end off the preseason with the Buffalo Bills, August 28th. Check Beck.Sports to find more scheduling and local channel information.
Welcome back. No apologies. I thought you said you had it. Okay, now for something completely different.
Right. All right, let's go through this.
All right, we are back at Freedom Fest in Rapid City, South Dakota, and I have a most interesting gentleman with me for you folks. His name is Jeff Hewitt, and a very, very interesting backstory. Currently running for governor in the recall election, governor for California. And, I've learned a little bit about you. Fascinating stuff. If you could maybe let our viewers know some of your history and how you got now to this point where you're running for governor of California.
Yeah, so I've been a registered libertarian since 1976. I was 23 years old. And, I believe in this party's principles. They haven't changed in the over 50 years that they've been in existence. However, I got tired of us never winning. So when somebody asked me to run for a city council seat in the small city of Calimesa, about 10,000 people in Southern California, I said, well, sure, because actually I got in it for the money. At that time, 2010 was the worst year of the Great Recession. I was that far from going and begging for food, and I got $300 a month to be a city councilman. So basically, I got into to politics for the money, the $300 a month.
Very lucrative.
And so what I did there was I went ahead and actually found out that it takes, just being a city councilman, you can't get rid of all government and do the things that libertarians want to do. And so I learned how to build the trust and the respect with my 4 colleagues. And in 5 years later, in my second term, they made me their mayor. We choose our mayor amongst, and it was at the right time because we had a challenge to our city. That challenge was we contracted with the Riverside County, who was the largest user of CAL FIRE firefighters, the state, fire department. And they said, the union tells us you have to have at least 3 on your one engine. So adding the 3rd firefighter on 3 different shifts was going to cost our city $750,000 more per year. Yeah, California, they make that much with their benefits and everything. And so at the end of the day, we only have a $6 million budget. And I said, we're not going to do that. So I embarked on something that nobody said that we could do. I got my colleagues on board, I got my city staff, and we formed a non-union, sustainable 401k pension fire department, which is sending a brush crew up to one of the major ones right now, and it's amazing. So that made me somewhat of a darling in the libertarian world in 2017.
That would make you a darling in any conservative circle, I think. Saving that much money and being able to move to private is all about...
Well, it wasn't private. It's actually a municipal fire department, and they actually are employees of the city. However, our city had an exception because they figured we were always going to be with the county sheriff and county fires, so there was an exception there on their CalPERS, the pension, for public safety. And I took advantage of that. Oh my God! I said, "Hey, that's great." And so they're one of the only cities that's not going to go bankrupt in the next 5 or 10 years because of the pension tsunami.
Most of our viewers are in North Dakota, and we had an opportunity this year to completely fix the pension issue. Completely, 100%.
That's right.
But there was not enough interest in the legislature to do that. But I digress. So then you moved on after obvious very good success in the city commission, and I understand you then went on to county commission, at least what we would call county commission.
Yes. So in California we have 58 counties, and they all have 5 county supervisors. I'm on National Association of County with 3,000 different commissioners and supervisors from all over the country. And in California, if you're a large county supervisor, it is one of the most influential political jobs you can have. So I was able to raise about $500,000, which is unheard of for a libertarian. And they're also nonpartisan seats, even though everybody kind of knows it's not on the ballot. So I figured I have a chance. And I worked my tail off. We knocked on 66,000 doors. We got a lot of people that had been trained by YAL and paid them to come out here from all over the country. And we outworked this termed out assemblyman who had the entire Republican machine and did the biggest upset in the county history. And so then I found myself in this really powerful political position. I have 22,000 employees. I have a $7 billion budget, and I'm on 30 different commissions, including like Metrolink. 4 of them have over $1 billion budgets. So me moving into the governor's mansion, should I win this in about 7 weeks, I could govern today. I mean, these are, I've been doing, and I know how to get things done that way. But so anyway, we pulled that off, and that's where I am today.
Okay. Now, the governor's race, I mean, that's shaping up to be pretty darn interesting. First off, do you think it's likely that Governor Newsom will not be reelected?
So it's not a matter. It was likely he'll beat the recall. Right now, if it's held today, he probably would beat the recall. But over the next 7 weeks, we know our fire season. We've already had the worst fire season, as opposed to last season, which was the worst in our history. We've already burned 3 times as many at this point as we did last year. But between fires and the drought, you know, he's shut off water in a lot of the northern counties and restricted it to a lot of people. That's going to get worse. We're going to have rolling blackouts. And then our gas, I don't know, what do you pay in North Dakota?
Oh, it's been increasing. I think that we are at like $3.09 or something.
Okay,
like
so our average price for a gallon of gas in California, because of all our restrictions and taxes, is actually about $4.59 now. That's the average. Okay, so and as that goes up, those are the things, the kitchen table topics that they're going to say, look, this he's really tall and good looking, he has nice teeth, but he's killing us, you know. Right. And so I think it's going to be nature versus Newsom, and I think nature's going to win. So what happens then on the second question of that one ballot is that you have to pick out of 41 different qualified candidates, which there are 8 Democrats, none of which have any money or name, and there are 20-something Republicans, about 5 or 6 which have fairly big names, and then there's 9 independents, and I'm the only libertarian on the ballot. And so there's actually a pathway for me to win this thing with 15 or 20%.
Wow.
So whoever gets it the most, you don't have to get 50%.
So Newsom doesn't need a majority. He just needs a plurality.
Well, he needs to to stay in. He has to. There's 2 different questions. The first question is, should you remove Governor Newsom?
Okay.
And if the yes votes are 50% plus 1 or more, then he's gone.
He's done. He's not. So he's not.
Yeah.
With the rest.
No. Well, he doesn't get to put his name down. No.
Okay.
And so whoever will have, just say that we split it up, and there's, say, 12 different candidates that people kind of choose. Theoretically, you could win it with 8 or 10%.
Wow.
But whatever that is, I'm only one of 2 candidates that's in elected office right now. Myself and Assemblyman Kevin Kiley. I'm only. I've done the most against the governor during the lockdown of maybe anybody in the United States, but certainly in California. And then I believe I'm the only major candidate on there that speaks Spanish fluently also. And 48% of our population speaks Spanish as a primary language.
Interesting. Huh.
I'm not the best looking, but I'm the most qualified.
You're not the best looking?
God, I fished and can't you believe you bit? That's great.
Yeah. All right. And I'm sorry, give us the date, if you would, please, on the election.
The election is going to be on September 14th.
Okay.
And that's coming right up.
Yes,
I will be actually when I leave here on Sunday. I'll get back at my place around noon, and that evening I've got to go down to one of my cities, Paris, where El Toro Guapo is this venue for all kinds of concerts. I will be introducing one of the largest Mexican groups, La Laberinto, which is like the Rolling Stones of the Mexican music, in front of thousands of screaming Mexicans, and I will be introducing them in Spanish. That's how you get people to start voting for you, and not for a governor that has done nothing for them and bringing them water or anything else.
Right, exactly. La Toro Guapo?
El Toro Guapo.
Guapo.
Yeah, El Toro Guapo. That means the good-looking bull.
The good-looking. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you should have that on your card.
Well,
La Toro
El Toro Guapo. No, I just. But no, it's this serious stuff. Yeah. I decided to run and throw my hat in because I have a very, very full-time job. I love this job of county supervisor. However, when I found out that the governor was cutting us 80% per capita less on vaccine in those first 3 months when we needed him to get to the elderly. I mean, I'm sure there are people died in my county because him playing favorites, not liking my county because what I'd done against him during and there's no room for that in representative democracy, and he needs to be in jail.
Yeah. He essentially handed to you and the other challengers so much on a silver platter. It's a matter of whether the voters are going to be awake enough to realize that.
Well, we'll see. I know he's very, very nervous, and he and the Secretary of State and the legislator made it increasingly difficult even to file. It was almost lunacy.
Yeah.
But I've got a good team. We got it together.
Yeah.
So.
Fantastic. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey,
very interesting.
And
really
thank you,
interesting.
Doctor. Thank you so much. All right?
You bet. All right, take care.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Jeff was a good guy.
Jeff Hewitt, running for governor of California.
Yep. All right, folks, stick with us. Lori's got a great segment next.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Spas, etc. Yeah. You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you can pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York style pizza. We also feature gyros with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
All right, folks, it is our final segment. Thank you for hanging with us through this entire hour. Lori, you have a segment which I've been following.
You've been watching this as well?
Yes, so interesting.
It is interesting. I pulled it out just simply because it's our neighbors to the west, those in Montana, and I've been kind of watching and doing the same as you, watching and seeing what they're doing in Montana. There's some interesting stuff, folks, let me just tell you. First of all, I found a Federalist article from back in mid-April, and it says Montana joins Florida in banning vaccine passports across the board, and that's when it kind of got on my radar, and I thought, okay, that's cool. That was April 14th, and that was an article by Tristan Justice. Then, Montana Republican Governor Greg Gianforte banned vaccine passports in his state. So let's take a look at a little poll quote here from the Federalist article. It says, while Montanans should take the vaccine, Gianforte said after he signed the order in isolation following a positive COVID test, Receiving one is entirely voluntary and won't be mandated by the state. Then he tweeted, let's take a look at the graphic here for the tweet. And this one, he says, I strongly encourage Montanans to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Receiving one is entirely voluntary and won't be mandated by the state. So I like those words, entirely voluntary, that kind of resonates with me. That's why today I issued an executive order, he said, prohibiting vaccine passports, and I'll continue protecting individual liberty and personal privacy. So he is definitely doing the right thing. Now, the distinction between the state laws underscores kind of a deeper understanding of the vaccine passport threats by Republicans in Montana and Florida in comparison to lawmakers in, say, Utah or Idaho and Texas. The threat of long-lasting erosion of liberty comes from private enterprises above government entities, and it's deceiving the public that considers themselves free. How silly of us, right? So this is the important part. The absence of a government mandate on vaccine passports is worthless if businesses implement them on their own. So it doesn't help you at all if the government says, you know, because businesses may just go and do it on their own too. So fast forward to a Fortune.com article from just this past Friday a friend sent to me. Montana, first state to ban vaccine requirements for employees. Take a look at this graphic here too. It says Montana in the article becomes the first U.S. state to ban vaccine requirements for employees. This is by Iris Samuels in the Associated Press, August 20th. Under a new law passed by the state's Republican-controlled legislature earlier this year, requiring vaccines as a condition for employment is deemed, quote, discrimination and a violation of the state's human rights laws. They're spot on that. Montana is the only state in the U.S. with a law like this for private employers, said Hemi Tourson, Executive Director of the National Academy for State Health Policy. So GOP lawmakers who supported the bill in the legislature said it was needed in response to employers coercing employees to get vaccinations under the threat, of course, of termination. And that's what's going on all across the fruited plain right now. Some of the loudest supporters of the bill were employees of a place called Benefice Health Systems in Great Falls, Montana, who were told earlier this year that COVID-19 vaccines would be necessary for them in order to keep their jobs. So Benefice was forced to backtrack on that plan. They walked it back when the law was signed by Governor Greg Gianforte in May.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you and I covered with Matthew Simon, District 8 had put out a thing that said no vaccine mandates,
Right.
except it wasn't a prohibition like Montana.
Right.
But it said if you have a vaccine mandate, the state's not going to pay you any money.
It, right.
Now, the argument I have heard from some of my fellow legislators is that they're not going to support that is because we can't allow the hospitals and clinics and businesses to close down because people won't have health care. The presumption being that they'll just close.
They're just going to fold?
But, I mean, the obvious answer is if they have a choice between closing their doors or just saying, hey, we'd like you to have a vaccine, but we can't require it, they're going to go with
do the right thing.
Do the right thing. And that's exactly what Montana showed. So.
And that's what they're saying. So Benefice was forced to backtrack on this. And Gianforte, a former business executive who founded and ran a technology company, gave the bill the green light after changing it to allow healthcare facilities to require unvaccinated workers and those who refuse to disclose their vaccination status to wear masks. So that was his, concession to them and take other precautions. And he got a lot of pushback, as you can imagine, from some other health officials. Pushback was pretty harsh this week when physicians called on the legislature and said, reverse the law, reverse the law. So you can imagine that happening in any state. So some of the states on the other end of the reaction spectrum, Democrats in New York and Hawaii implemented programs to require proof of vaccination to participate in society. So you basically can't do anything. And then there was a Hill article, the Hill article from today, and this just came out at 3:15 Eastern time this afternoon on the Hill. Biden calls on companies to mandate vaccines following FDA full approval. So you might have seen that happened today as well. President Biden called on companies to mandate COVID-19 vaccines on Monday. He wants them to mandate vaccines, voicing strong support for such requirements following the Food and Drug Administration's FDA full approval for the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. So that's the next thing now. All of a sudden, we're getting the feel that he's pushing it. It's going to be mandatory. Today, I took a sign and I went over to the protest and stood in solidarity for just a couple of minutes with those amazing health professionals. One of the signs that I saw today between the two hospitals in town read "Hero to Zero," and that got me. I'm like,
meaning that these nurses and the other healthcare workers were not that long ago considered by everyone to be heroes, people to be admired, and yet the hospitals are going to say you don't get the vaccine, which until today Pfizer was not even FDA approved,
right.
And the other ones still are not. But if you don't get this experimental vaccine, you're fired. So much for hero.
Hero to zero. And the one that I brought said, freedom to choose should be mandatory.
Amen to that, sister.
I'm just saying.
See, and that's the thing is what's mandatory is freedom to choose. That's what it should be.
Right.
That's beautifully stated.
Yep.
We just heard earlier, someone saying that I'm a anti-masking or anti-vaccine zealot. No, I'm not against the vaccine.
I'm not either. You do
I'm
you.
against the mandate.
Right.
I'm not against masking. I'm against the mandate.
Yep, I'm the same way.
I don't know how we have to keep saying
We
it
just have
over
to
and
say it
over and
over
over
and over,
because
yeah.
the opposition is saying their lie, they're repeating their lie over and over and over. So we must continue to repeat the truth. You do you.
I had that conversation with a girlfriend earlier this morning too, over coffee. And you know what? If you want to do the vaccine, please, by all means, do it. Do what's important for you, for your health. Just please do not mandate me to do, what
Right.
you want.
And if you're going to somehow try and mandate me because it protects you, then that's where we need to talk about the science. And you need to show proof, and it's not there, folks.
It's not there. No, that's very true. So, okay, so on tomorrow's show, I am so excited about it. I've been waiting for this interview from Freedom Fest. It is Utah Senator Mike Lee that he talks to. It's going to be great. Do not miss it.
Mike Lee's wonderful. Also, if Rob Port happens to want to come on the show tomorrow night, we will make room for you, Rob. We will make room for you. Let's talk. See you next time.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.